Hey culturists! Recently there's been a controversy stirred by the Dutch politician Geert Wilders when he said that there are millions, maybe tens of millions of people that need to be deported for thought crimes. But the principle is still there. The question is still there. Do we throw out our liberal traditions in order to protect our liberal traditions? Culturism, the book, addresses this in depth, and it always sides on the side of liberal traditions. But it also illustrates a couple of principles. One principle is that whenever you bring people in from another culture, especially a culture that's hostile to your culture, but any culture, you change the balance of your culture. So in America, we have the Patriot Act. This has compromised our rights. Why? Because there's been terrorism. The terrorism of 9/11 threatened terrorism from other Muslims that have happened repeatedly. Not on the media, but happened repeatedly. Therefore, as soon as we have the Muslims in, we do have a compromise of rights. On our subways, they say, bags are subject to search. They might as well say, because of Muslims, bags are subject to search. And again, this changes the composition of your culture. Another principle that is illustrated herein is that rights are not some sort of universal metaphysical thing that are always there or not always there. They are always compromised. They depend on a society that believes in them and can support them. And that requires taking the society, the culture's values into account. So during war, your rights go way down. Why? Because we need to maintain our society that believes in rights. We, in the West, need to protect our rights. And we do this two ways. One, by recognizing these culture's principles. I think everybody on all sides of this debate agrees that we need to really limit Islamic immigration. The second thing you do, though, is that you minimally have security precautions that deal with culturist profile. That's not racist culture profiling, but culturist profiling. So if there is probable cause, you follow people. And if somebody does some sort of crime or starts to plan one, you of course deport those people. The deal is, though, that cultures are ideas, right? We don't deal like racists and say all those people are genetically evil or something. We're dealing with ideas, hearts and minds. So the vast majority, as Geert Wilders notices, the vast majority of Muslims in the West are great, law-abiding citizens, hardworking, etc., etc. You don't want to antagonize these people. How do you make them adherents to the West? You promote assimilation. In your schools, you teach Western history, go team, and Western values, and they understand the value of freedom of speech, etc., etc., if it's taught, and you don't allow enclaves where the opposite Sharia law is enforced. You notice that Western law is the law in the West. You also don't harass people unless there is probable cause. If you harass people, then people will naturally resist the state. They'll hate you. Create tension, just like you create tension when you say, those people are bad, they need to be deported, and you undermine our unity. This would lead to further civil unrest. This would lead to a further erosion of laws. You've got to be sensitive to people if you want to bind people, if you want to make the West a culture that can have as much freedom as it can have and be itself. So, again, we want to err on the side of liberalism. If there is more terrorism, etc., we need to, we'll have to have more. But at the extent that we can, we need to err on the side of protecting civil rights, because the West is all about civil rights. Yes, if we import more Islamic people, this is going to change the balance. It's going to push the clock further towards midnight. We may have more terrorism. We may have to, at that point, violate our sacredly held beliefs. But until then, let's try to all get along, shall we? Peace.